Every weekend, hundreds of thousands of people tune in to watch 10 professional teams play League of Legends. In a league with a production value that rivals traditional sports broadcasts. Casters in suits, a proper arena in Berlin, light shows, crowd reactions, the whole thing. It looks incredibly expensive, and the people playing on this stage are becoming celebrities. So here's the question. Does any of that actually make money? Because if you look at the raw numbers, and for the first time some of those numbers are actually public, the answer is kind of uncomfortable. The LEC, the top League of Legends league in Europe, has been losing tens of millions of euros a year, and yet Riot keeps running it. Why? To understand that, we need to pull apart exactly how this league is structured, where the money comes from, where it goes, and what Riot's actual goal is. Because it turns out the LEC isn't really designed to be profitable. At least, not in the traditional sense. Before we get into the money, let's quickly set the scene for anyone who hasn't been following competitive League of Legends. The LEC, which stands for League of Legends EMEA Championship, is Riot Games' top-tier competitive league for Europe. It features 10 permanent franchise teams, names like G2, Fnatic, Koi, Carmine Corp and Team Vitality. These teams don't get relegated in the traditional sense. They bought a slot into the league, a model borrowed from American sports. The league runs out of Riot Games Arena in Berlin, a purpose-built esports studio that Riot overhauled and rebranded in 2024. There's also a remote broadcast center in Dublin that handles a lot of the production behind the scenes. Each year has 2 or 3 splits, basically seasons culminating in playoffs. The best teams then qualify for international tournaments like the MSI and Worlds. From the outside, it looks like a professional sports league. From the inside, the financial picture is very different. Okay, so how does the LEC actually generate revenue? There are a few main buckets. First, sponsorships. This is the big one. Sponsorships make up the majority of what the LEC brings in. Brands like Red Bull, Secret Lab, LG, Kia, KitKat, they have all been on the league's roster at various points. These deals give sponsors logo placement on broadcasts, integration into content, shoutouts from casters, basically the esports version of pitch side advertising. Here's the interesting thing though. These deals are not as lucrative as you might expect. Unlike traditional sports league, esports leagues haven't been able to command the same rates because viewership, while incredibly passionate, is still relatively niche. And according to reporting, some of these sponsorship deals have been declining in value, with some coming into below Riot's own guaranteed minimums. The broader ad market hasn't fully bought into esports the way the industry hoped it would 10 years ago. Second, there's broadcast rights. In traditional sports, this is where leagues make the real money. The Premier League, for example, makes billions from selling its TV rights to broadcasters around the world. The LEC has basically nothing here. The league streams for free on Twitch and YouTube. There are no traditional broadcast deals generating significant income. Some third-party broadcasters produce localized language streams, like Polish or French versions, but these aren't significant revenue drivers for Riot itself. The LEC is free to watch, which is great for fans, and I personally love it, but it means Riot is giving away its content instead of selling it. Ticket sales and live events. The Riot Games Arena holds a relatively modest crowd, and tickets are reasonably priced. For most of the regular season, this doesn't move the needle much. It's more about the atmosphere than revenue. The bigger live events, like playoff finals held in larger venues, can drive more ticket income, but it's still a small portion of overall revenue. The fourth and largest thing, in-game digital content, which is basically the new model. This is the future-facing piece, and it's become central to Riot's strategy. When fans buy esport-themed skins, passes, team icons or other content inside League of Legends, a portion of that revenue now flows back into a shared pool for the league and its teams. Riot calls this the global revenue pool. Starting from 2024 and into 2025, they shifted away from the old model, where teams got 50% of league-specific sponsorship revenue, towards a system where teams receive a fixed stipend plus a share of digital content sales. 50% of GRP is split equally among all partner teams, and 35% is allocated based on competitive performance. This is a page directly taken from Riot's Valorant's Champion Tour playbook. And the idea is that as League of Legends keeps making money from the game itself, esport benefits too. Right, so League has income, but what does it cost to run this thing? The answer is a lot. And here's the breakdown. The LEC looks the way it does because it costs a lot to look that way. A full broadcast team, technical production staff, casters, analysts, a social media team, content creators. This is a year-round operation. The Riot Games Arena in Berlin is a permanent facility that has to be staffed and maintained. These casters and analysts at the LEC level are professionals who earn professional salaries. Hosting a weekly broadcast across multiple language streams like English, French, Spanish or German just multiplies these costs. Riot doesn't just run the LEC, they also subsidize the entire EMEA ecosystem below it. Regional leagues, called ERLs, where the next generation of talent develops. All of that infrastructure costs money that flows from the top. As a part of the franchise model and the new revenue sharing structure, Riot provides partner teams with fixed stipends to help cover their operating costs. The exact numbers aren't public, but these are understood to be substantial enough to keep clubs solvent. Here's where it gets really interesting, because for once, we actually have some hard data. Thanks to financial filings from Riot Games' EU-based entity, we know that the LEC posted a loss of 18.15 million in 2024. That sounds bad, but it's actually an improvement. The year before, the loss was 28.5 million. And when you stack up the accumulated losses, you're looking at over 71.5 million in the red across the company's history. On top of that, Riot Games' parent company, Tencent, injected 34 million in capital into the LEC entity with no expectation of a direct return on that investment. For context, Riot's EMEA headquarters had 1.85 billion in revenue in 2024 and pre-tax profits of 587 million. So the LEC losses are, in Riot's own words, a rounding error on their total business. But they're still losses, and they matter. Why? Because Tencent, the Chinese giant that owns Riot, has been pushing hard for cost discipline since 2022. They want returns, not just prestige projects. That pressure led to Riot cutting around 530 jobs, about 11% of their total headcount, at the start of 2024, with the esports division hit particularly hard. So, why do they do it? This is the key question. If the LEC loses money every year, why does Riot keep running it? The answer is that the LEC is not a product. It's a marketing channel, basically one big ad. Think about it this way. Riot makes the vast majority of its money from selling cosmetics inside League of Legends. Skins, battle passes, limited time events. To keep people spending money on those things, they need the game to feel alive, relevant and exciting. They need a story, they need drama. The LEC provides that story. It creates iconic players that the community gets emotionally invested in. It gives fans a reason to care about teams, to buy team-specific cosmetics, to engage with the game every week. A great LEC rivalry like G2 versus Fnatic back in the day, it doesn't just generate viewership, it sells skins. From Riot's perspective, the LEC is essentially a marketing expense. And 18 million in marketing losses for a company generating 587 million in profit starts to look very different. Riot has been pretty open about this framing. Their own financial directors described the league as something that supports viewership, sponsors, and the health of the overall ecosystem, not a business that generates profit. Is it sustainable? The honest answer is, it's fragile. The whole model depends on Riot staying willing to absorb losses in exchange for the marketing benefit. And as Tencent tightens the screws, that willingness is being tested. The new global revenue pool model is Riot's attempt to build a more sustainable structure. One where the rise of in-game content sales directly funds the league, rather than relying almost entirely on traditional sponsorship. If that model works, and if esports digital content keeps growing, the losses could shrink, maybe even disappear. Viewership for the LEC, while still substantial, peaks of 800,000 concurrent viewers aren't uncommon, has generally declined from the highs of 2020 and 2021. The media value generated per tournament varies widely. LEC Winter in 2025, boosted by Carmine's Corp incredible run, generated nearly 26 million in media value. But LEC Summer 2025 only managed around 9 million. Consistency is the real problem. And traditional broadcast deals, the engine that makes real money in the Premier League or the NFL, doesn't exist here. Until the LEC can figure out how to monetize its audience through something other than sponsorships and digital cosmetics, the ceiling on revenue is going to stay low. So, does the LEC make any money? Not really, not yet. The league loses tens of millions of euros a year and is kept alive by Riot, which is itself kept alive by Tencent. Because the league serves as one of the most effective marketing tools in the entire games industry. The LEC makes League of Legends feel like it matters. And a game that feels like it matters sells a lot more skins and gets a lot more players and viewers. Whether that's a business model or an elaborate illusion depends on who you ask. But for now, Riot seems convinced it's worth it. The question is, for how long will Tencent agree? If this kind of breakdown is interesting to you, let me know in the comments what you'd want me to cover next. Is it the LCS? Is it the Valorant Champions Tour? Maybe even CS2 and its majors? Or maybe why esports organizations themselves keep losing money despite all of this? Hit the subscribe button and like the video if you want to see some next videos, and thank you all for watching. Bye bye.